You as young people are being encouraged by governments and institutions such as the UN to have a louder voice in helping to develop the policies and legislation which will make the future you want. You are the future. The UN, as the policy-making body for its member states, also takes the long view, responding to changing trends in society. This strategic role and its flexibility to adapt and change in response to solid argument, backed by research and member states' representation, brought about the comparatively recent launch in 2010 of UN Women, the gender equality and women's empowerment entity at the UN. Some background on me, as has been mentioned, I've been a very active Rotarian, club president, international chair, and represented my district at RIBI on the communications committee where I met Eve. As a consultant, I worked with district governors in developing a strategy for growth for Rotary in these islands, so I know your world very well. However, I'm speaking to you today as the President of UN Women in the UK, which supports the work of UN Women in a variety of ways. Through raising awareness of gender issues and women's rights, through events and education, through advocacy with government to promote the work of UN Women and highlight the urgency and necessity of supporting a gender programme in the UK. And we also ensure the UK government continues its commitment to funding overseas development, including UN Women. And I have just come from a meeting with the Secretary of State for International Development, Justin Greening, who is one of your members, I believe, to discuss this very work. We hold fundraising events which raise money to support UN Women's wide-ranging programmes across the world where they operate in over 70 countries. So we are fortunate to be the first national committee for UN Women since its foundation. We're part of a global network of 16 national committees and are the national representative voice and champion of UN Women in the UK. We work, as was mentioned, with civil society, government departments and with corporate partners to push forward the agenda on equality and women's rights in the UK. Our role is to support the mission of UN Women in the UK, particularly in its key focal areas, which impact on the rights, equality and well-being of women and girls. And those key areas are ensuring women's political participation at whatever level, ending violence against women, peacemaking and the democratic process. It's important to have women in peacemaking and reconciliation, economic empowerment and access to education. UN Women, once it is invited into a country by its government, listens to what women want to improve, how they want to improve their lives, and operating through regional coordinators who commission local NGOs and other partners, develops innovative programs. All our work is aimed at achieving true equality and ensuring half the world's talents and potential are realised. Through my work with UN Women, I have travelled many times to the UN Commission on the Status of Women, which is held every March, and this is the global policy-making body for women and girls. I've also visited overseas projects and shared best practice with my counterparts. So you might ask, why do we as a volunteer, charitable organisation feel this work is so important? Well, I and my fellow professional trustees care passionately about gender equality, social justice and international development to ensure equality of opportunity for all. We know that empowering women and bringing them into the mainstream of all societies is the key to a stable, healthy, educated and financially strong future. And the UN is the ideal organisation to take the long-term view, and UN Women also delivers programmes and projects which bring about immediate change as part of a longer-term strategy. True to its founding charter, which stressed maintaining international peace and security and emphasising the drive for equal rights and international cooperation, the UN, as a unique organisation, comprising over 190 member states, meets regularly. It has, through debating, much arguing, and I'm sure you all have a lot of that, and introducing legal instruments led to in-country legislation and implementation through national action plans, policies, practices, which lead to long-term changes in keeping with its founding charter. For example, the UK government is one of the leaders in adopting and implementing legislation. It has met the pledge to spend 0.7% of GDP on international aid and sets an example to the rest of the world in the intelligent leadership it provides in this area. However, as we conquer prejudices and injustices, new challenges of the modern world face us. Today, there is wide acknowledgement around the globe that women's empowerment is essential to social, economic and sustainable development, so vital to your future. There can be no meaningful process if women and girls who comprise half of society remain out of the mainstream of society and do not have access to opportunities, including those of quality education, healthcare, employment, protection from violence, and participation in decision-making processes in society, as well as ensuring their rights. Some of the issues include domestic violence, which is a global pandemic, with 1 in 3 women and girls experiencing some form of violence or abuse in their lifetime. The issue of sex trafficking, which is the modern name for slavery. The barriers women face in terms of justice in rape cases, and giving women equal representation in all levels of decision-making, including the boardroom, including equal pay. And this is just in the UK. Once we look at the situation in the developing world, the litany of areas of discrimination are legion, and here are just a few. Women lag far behind men in access to land, credit and decent jobs, even though a growing body of research shows that enhancing women's economic options boosts national economies. Women have become the new weapon and victim in modern warfare. Lack of property rights, inheritance laws, rights for widows who are left destitute and outcast have no representation. In general, women take home 78% of men's pay for similar work. And the lack of primary and secondary schooling for girls. So the facts are stark. The face of poverty is female. More than 1 billion in the world today, the great majority of whom are women, live in unacceptable conditions of poverty, mostly in the developing countries. For girls living in poverty, every stage of life can be a struggle, as they don't enjoy the same education, choices and opportunities as boys. No one bears the burden of poverty more than girls. And we think the answer is empowerment, through focusing on girls' education, because it sets them on a path to greater economic opportunities and participation in their societies. But the story doesn't end here. Not surprisingly, girls who stay in school lower their risk of all the factors associated with child marriage. Girls with secondary schooling are up to 6 times less likely to marry as children. Women with an education are empowered with more choices. They are healthier, marry later, have healthier children. They have better access to family planning and information on sexual and reproductive health. Education also has a pivotal role in ending violence against women and girls around the world. Learning helps women to help themselves and break the shackles of exclusion. Nowhere is this more essential than in the developing world. One study of 60 countries estimates that the economic loss from not educating girls at the same level as boys totals $90 billion a year. Another study suggests that an extra year of primary school boasts earning potential by 10 to 20%, and 25% for an extra year of secondary education. But it makes common sense, as statistics prove, that where there is gender equality, societies are more peaceful and flourish, conflict recedes, and economies grow. I think you will agree all of us deserve the same fair chance to contribute to our societies and live up to our potential. Thank you.